How's it going, everybody? Taris Black here with another video. This one specifically on Red Purple. My favorite deck, everybody's favorite deck. Funny enough, the deck that was everybody's villain. Everybody hated it, and now it's the underdog, and we root for it because we all hate the bird. Look at that. Love how things come around. So yeah, so this is just a quick deck tech, just a quick idea for maybe some of you guys to think, okay, what ideas can I go from where we started or where we ended in red purple from last set, and kind of what changes can I mess around with and try out and play test to lead into this new set. So shout out Lorcana Goon, shout out Kendall, a lot of these awesome players, and Steadfast with his recent burn list. Just a lot of other cool people dropping some red purple lists, some red purple ideas, and I figured I would just drop my own personal idea out there as well and give everybody more options to figure out, okay, where do we take this? How do we play this for the next set? Where do we go? So let's jump right into it, shall we? Boom, red purple. Not a lot of new crazy things here. It's red purple. I think most people's list, unless you're looking at the burn list, doesn't really have any significant changes, just maybe some preferential tweaks here and there. But me personally with this list does have kind of like a combo that we haven't seen any other list really try out so far. So I'm gonna go through pretty quickly on most of this stuff, and then kind of deep dive a little bit into what actual changes there are. So a lot of what you're going to see here on this list is pretty standard, especially all the purple stuff. So in terms of the purple stuff, we have our 8 1 drops, our followers, our brooms, pretty standard. I don't think you run Diablo, to be honest. I think if you run the Diablo and you're red purple against me and you're not playing maybe the burn version, thank you for the win. But yeah, I think it also kind of incentivizes you to play more into crabs, similar to how I feel with Cusco. And yes, I love drawing cards. I draw a billion cards when I play red purple. People hate it. But I don't need Diablo and I don't need Cusco to do that. I have different ways that kind of feed into my personal play style that work better. But things like Diablo, things like Cusco, preferential. If you like it, sure, play it. But I'll gladly play against you if you have those options. I'm just being real with that. So, yeah, so brooms, followers, Diablo's not better than them, in my opinion. Then you have your snake. Nothing to go on about there, really. Flynn is pretty standard. Like I said, you see some people choosing Cusco over Flynn. And really, I think those are just people that kind of get annoyed by the fact that Flynn doesn't trigger 60% of the time, maybe even 70% of the time. But the 40% or the 30% where he does trigger can really end up being what wins you the game, or puts you just so far ahead that it doesn't even matter, right? Like he can solidify either quickly, or like that 3 lore could have made the world of difference by the end of the game. And having that ability and that possibility in the list, I think is really strong. And there are moments during late in the game where you could play him and just continue that pressure, and after a B prep or anything, right? So I think his ability to have those potential kind of game swings or like game solidifiers compared to something like a Cusco that doesn't really feel threatening when he comes out is important. We need cards that our opponent wants to spend time dealing with so that we can do what we want to do as red purple and take our time. We're not really as aggressive as we used to be back in set 2 when you could slam 2 surfer minis and then that's pretty much game. We don't have that ability anymore. So having something like this that needs to be answered by our opponent, or we're just going to get so much value off of it, I think still beats Cusco no matter what. But I understand people get annoyed by the fact that majority of the time he doesn't hit, but it's like that with a ton of cards. I could play Ariel in an Amber Steel deck, and then if I get, annoyed that she whiffs like 3 times in one game, that doesn't mean I should drop her, because those moments where she hits and she really hits, it like just puts you so far ahead. So like there's certain cards they just have to gamble and have and put your opponent in a position where they need to answer. So I'm not getting rid of Flynn anytime soon unless we get like a really really good 2 drop. Foxes, we know the drill. Goats, we know the drill. Rabbits, we know the drill. And an interesting choice. I saw, some other people trying this out. Is you could like potentially shave a rabbit and have 3, and then put in like one of the genies, like the new evasive genie that when it comes in draws you a card, as just a little extra small way that you can kind of edge ahead of, or not edge ahead of, but kind of soften the blow for like green steel, and have another way to answer the Diablo that they have to think about. And I think that's a interesting choice and something that you could look into doing. But for right now, I'm sticking with the 4, and I may, try that change out. But I don't really like doing one ofs. I like, if I'm going to put a card in, I want at least 2. So for right now, keeping the same 4 rabbits. And then because we're having the Flynn, keeping the Sisu. I know a lot of people are trying out the White Rose. White Rose is cool. It's a baby goat. Nothing wrong with a baby goat. But Sisu is also just a big threat and has the potential to be able to challenge up and just do really, really good trades or deal with locations, anything like that. And since this list, spoiler alert, is not running Maui or Crab, having something like Sisu that can threaten to punch for a lot is really nice. And if not, then it's another way to just kind of force the Flynn to potentially trigger if they don't answer the Flynn. So a lot of this right here, this whole section right here is super standard. And now we'll get into a little bit of the differences compared to other lists that you see. So these right here is kind of where the spiciness is. So at the end of last set, I wanted to try and, I guess challenge the idea that Maui is a must-have, like 4 of or even 3 of, and I completely took him out and replaced him with Elsa. And yeah, I've loved that change since. There, of course, are small moments where I'm like, man, I really wish I had a Maui right now. But there's also a lot of small moments where I'm like, man, I really wish I had a Tremaine right now, or I really wish I had a B King Undisputed. We can't fit everything into the deck. You can try, you can do it if you want to. I don't like to do that, and really, whenever it comes down to like feeling like, oh man, I really wish I had this one card in this niche scenario that I'm not dealing with all the time, I kind of try to take those thoughts and put them in the back and think more so of like, okay, what is actually more consistently answering what I'm dealing with, um, game to game and through a tournament. And Elsa kind of fits the spot right now of dealing with a lot of the green. We're dealing with a lot of green steel. She's not that good into like the red blue matchup, but I don't think you need her or Maui at all to win red blue anyways. So really, like, if they're just ink in those matchups, her or Maui, they're just ink in those matchups, and that's fine. We're totally cool with that. If anything, she's just an evasive threat that like they have to brawl, they have to see, so they have to get rid of it. If not, she can sit there and kind of quest for something, right? So that's something at least with the Elsa. But yeah, I've really been enjoying the Elsa over the Maui for now. I'm sure there's a way that you could kind of do a split where maybe it's like 2-2 or 3-2, whatever it may be, or maybe even sometimes 3-3. I've seen some people finding the space to go 4-4. I think that's OD, but if that's what you want to do, right on for you, brother. This the whole point of this is that we get to make our own decks and make our own choices. What I say can either be golden to you or could be absolutely meaningless. So I'm just giving ideas, and you guys kind of come up with your own ideas. So yeah, Elsa, I have instead of Maui, and then these 2 guys right here is where the real sauce comes in. So I've had some discussions, seen some discussions about potentially deleting Medusa from the list for now because she seems too slow in some spots. And, she is, a high cost, uninkable. And Medusa is an amazing card and gets rid of a lot of other very amazing cards. But we do have ways to flex around and kind of play around those spots. And so right now, instead of the 3 Medusa that I used to have in my previous list, I'm running 3 Prince Erics. So 3 Prince Erics instead. He gets out sooner. And then let's say against Green Steel, you play a Prince Eric on 4 and they have, a Beast out or they have a Diablo out. We don't really have anything besides a Brawl that gets rid of the Diablo anyway. So if we do Brawl the Diablo on 3, they play, something else annoying or even like an Ursula. We can play the Prince Eric, and now it says, well, if you do play the Storm Rage on, or you do play anything, or you put anything sideways that has 2 or more strength, I'm gonna use this guy to get rid of your best character and potentially trade up in value. And if not, he's a 2 quester that's just gonna sit there and push, and we have the ability to force his ability anyways. And that's what Scar's here for. So previously, way back in set 3, I believe it is, when Prince Eric got introduced. Yeah, set 3. I tried him out with Teeth Inhibitions in the list, and that was back when, you're playing the 1-3s. And it was okay. It wasn't too bad. But it just felt like I'm playing a Teeth Inhibitions, and I don't like Teeth Inhibitions. I always thought that card was really bad, and that was one major decision I made back in set 2 when I had my big win streak compared to a lot of the other Ruby Amethyst players where they were playing Teeth, and yeah, it had like niche moments where it was good, but it was like Teeth just never felt super, super good. I know some people still like it. I don't like it. But I did try it out because, we had Prince Eric now, and now we have a way to force his ability if we need to. But now we have a way to do that without having to run Teeth and Ambitions. Because, we're dealing with Pete's, we're dealing with bare necessities, we're dealing with, 2-drop Ursula. And last thing I need is another song in the deck that is going to get sniped by those potentially, and it wasn't a card I wanted in my hand anyways. But now I'm, have a card discarded, and that card could have been something else that I've drawn that was never going to be able to get discarded by those cards or get blocked by those cards. So that's why now we're going to mess around with the Scar, because Scar is oh yeah, beautiful set champs promo, by the way. But Scar has Teeth and Ambitions built into him, but also it's kind of built in a pretty interesting way. So we have the ability to, drop him on curve, which is something else that in testing I've really liked, is we can go 4, play Prince Eric. They're probably not going to remove Prince Eric. We quest with him. And then if we need to, on 5, we play Scar, shoot him. So let's just think about it, right? In a beautiful scenario, they have Diablo out. We haven't been able to get rid of the Diablo. And on 5, we kind of have the answer of Elsa if we have it. But let's say their board is like Beast and Diablo. We can play Scar, shoot Prince Eric to shoot down the Diablo, and now Prince Eric goes away and we blow up the Beast. We get left with the Scar. So there's like little case scenarios where you can do that, and I have done that, and it's felt really nice and really smooth. And also, if the Scar survives, I've had times where maybe we play another Prince Eric, and then you bounce the Scar back after questing. You get a 3 lore, which is beautiful. So you get 3 lore from the Scar, bounce the Scar, replay the Scar, shoot the Prince Eric again, just start blasting everything. And even if you don't have a Prince Eric, we have a lot of things that have 3 health, 4 health. And while our 1 drops, and our Flynn don't trigger off of, and maybe this is a reason why maybe you personally would want to play Cusco or Diablo, is because you could also come in, shoot those characters, draw a card, um, and then, be able to take out a character. But I do really like, so far in testing, the synergy between Prince Eric and Scar, and I think just Prince Eric alone and just Scar alone in a meta that most of the time at the beginning ends up being a lot more aggressive and not as slow as it tends to get to by the later parts of the meta, since we have a faster meta typically at the beginning. And as well, we got a lot of blue menaces, right? So we really didn't have any good way to deal with something like a crab. Prince Eric helps us deal with a lot of those threats that you felt like, oh, I need a Tremaine for. But Prince Eric lets you choose, and Prince Eric puts them in a position where they don't want to put certain things sideways, and that's fine. And you can also, if you absolutely need to, by the way, brawl your own Prince Eric to blow something else up, right? Like if Prince Eric's sat there, they don't want to get rid of it because they don't want to lose something important they have. You can at some point just brawl your Prince Eric after questing. Like you got your 2 lore, whatever it may be. Brawl this. That's, a 7 cost commitment, but essentially, you're just paying 3 on the turn um, to force the Prince Eric to do it. So instead of using Teeth to force the Prince Eric, you're using Brawl to force him, but then you also have Scar to force him. So you kind of have this little trio here that works pretty well to get rid of big threats that would otherwise force you to play a Be Prepared just for 1 card, right? So you have different combos of getting rid of stuff, and you're not having to play like a 6-drop Tremaine that needs the specific scenario to be good and blow up that one character that you're having a tough time with. Granted, none of this deals with Ward, but Red Purple has always kind of had to struggle with Ward unless you're running Tremaine or B King, and if you want to run those, by all means. But I've never really felt the need to. I've always felt I've always liked to play in a sense where I'm going to force my opponent to have to just deal with what I'm doing more often than me dealing with their stuff, and that puts them in a situation where they can't just comfortably, throw an aerial down and think that they're just going to quest around with it or anything like that. Um, I want them to be able to, I want them to sit there and really have to deal with us. So we have the brawls, we have the friends on the other side, and the B prep, and then, your standard castle. And me personally, I play 3 libraries. Library is cracked. Library is a great card, I think. If you're not playing library in Red Purple, you should be playing library because, sorry, let me take a sip. And oh, look, the webcam did some laggy stuff. I'm going to fix that. I'm sure it did it a couple times already throughout the video. Whatever. So library, it's very cracked. It's also really, really good paired with the Prince Eric, because if Prince Eric is on a library, guess what? You get more benefit from something you were already going to do anyways, right? And it also makes your opponent way more hesitant to blow him up, to know, oh, if I get rid of this Prince Eric, not only is it going to get rid of my best character on my board, but it's also just going to net him another card. So then their attention kind of gets diverted to the library. The library is already tough to deal with because it has 8 health, and now you just have a dude that can sit there and keep questing for 2 anyways. So you're giving them, and this is the way that I like to play Red Purple, is you're giving them multiple layers of choices that they have to make in terms of what to deal with, and we're putting them in that position so that we can get to a point where, we have a B prep ready to go with a castle to follow it, or a B prep and a rabbit, or we're just constantly putting on pressure and really stopping them from being able to get as far ahead as they want to. And that's what Red Purple's strength is if I can draw this game out, I'm going to accrue more resources. And then in certain matchups like Red Blue, I can play more aggressively, get to a point where I have a nice lore lead, and then use your weakness like the library. And yeah, it's giving you only one lore. I think a lot of people, dismiss the library because, oh, it only gives one lore, and they're so spoiled by the two lore on the castle. But who cares? We're playing a deck that has goat in it. We just want to tick, 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 get those little bits of lore throughout the whole matchup. And then on top of that, the library is more likely to keep your momentum moving forward. Like, think of it like this, and this is why I love the library so much, right? Is because compared to the castle, if you have a character on the castle and you get to draw one card, God forbid you get to draw two cards extra at the start of your turn off of a castle, you've essentially already won the game, right? You're really using the castle as a way to close out the game and have its lore generation be its main power, not its draw. But if you do get to draw off of it, then you either just automatically get, you know, shot to the front of the lead, or you've just already been in the lead and now you're just like messing around with them at that point. Whereas the library gives you the ability to claw back in a way that no other card, aside from B Prep, in my opinion, can do. No other card, besides maybe being able to do, some goat bounce shenanigans, not goat bounce, but, rabbit bouncing, lets you draw some more cards. But the library turns everything into, your favorite card, Diablo and Cusco, turns everything into those and gives them, a goat, a rabbit, a Prince Eric, a Scar, cards that have more benefit. Your draw here, you draw two off the one drops, things like that, where it just kind of just adds a whole other layer to cards that are already good, already coming in and doing lots of value, and now you're giving them an extra value of drawing you an additional card whenever they do what they were going to do anyways, which is trade, or what they were going to do anyways, which is be banished because your opponent has to throw into them, or you're going to blow up the board. So now you're accruing value and you can claw back using library in a way that feels really, really broken in a lot of cases. And also, the thing is a truck, man. It's got 8 health. 8 health is nothing to be shy about. And this single-handedly, outside of having 4 Elsas against green steel, has won me more games and let me stay in a game against green steel longer than something like Castle ever did. Because in Castle, all they have to do is remove the character, and they're pretty good at removing characters. They're gonna laser everything you play, or I mean Bruno, and if they Bruno, then they can Bruno whatever they want. But this is forces them to then now look at your board and go, well, man, I really don't want to I need to get rid of that, but I really don't want to, because then they're going to draw cards, which goes against what my deck wants to do. And then also they're looking at 8 health. One, they're playing steel, and, they're not playing Zeus or anything like that. So this 8 health is extremely significant. Some people are running Tinkerbell, some people aren't. Everybody's running the sad beast, Mr. Emo Beast, but they don't want him to be damaged because they want to draw cards off of him. So dealing with something that has 8 health is really tough for them. And while they're trying to figure out how they're going to deal with this, you just turn every single card you have sideways. And now they have to either deal with the location or figure out how to, which they're probably not going to. They're going to dismiss it and instead deal with your characters and then just try to somehow out value out of the game. But it's not going to happen because you're playing B Prep, you're playing red, and you can put them in a spot where literally they have no way to win. Their deck just cannot deal with that. And by the time they get rid of this, you've already dropped one of these. It's been gaining you some lore, or you drop another library, and it just kind of kills them that way. But yeah, so that's the list and where I'm at right now. My voice is like dying because my job is, outside of this is, to talk to people all day. So I apologize if my voice sounds ridiculous. And, I got to drink some water. But yeah, so the main sauce of the list comes from Prince Eric. We're using Prince Eric as a replacement to Medusa. Yes, it doesn't come in and immediately remove something. That would be absolutely insane. It'd be the best card in the game. Uh, but he puts your opponent, especially a green steel opponent or even a red blue opponent, in an awkward situation where they have a lot of removal in their deck and they're very used to removing whatever you play. But now you're playing something that says, well, if you do remove it, your favorite card on that board, the one you do not want me to remove, is going no matter what you say. And then Scar kind of gets to combo off with the Prince Eric, but then also give you an additional answer to Diablo. He can come in and blow up Diablo if you absolutely need to. So now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 different answers to Diablo. I mean, besides a beat prep. So you have a lot of answers. And like I said, you can mess around with maybe shaving a rabbit and throwing a genie in there, but I wouldn't really shave anything else because we're already at 13 uninkables, and that's already like more than what I traditionally play. I usually just aim for around 10 because, good lord, do I hate having hands that are bricks. And the closer you get to 14, 15, the closer you get to those, possibilities. But because we're playing a little bit lower to the ground than usual, we're not dealing with potentially drawing a bunch of 6-drop ladies. We have like the 4-drop removal instead, and then like only 2 of the 5s. It's not as bad. You just don't want to be like this guy where you mulligan, you do a correct mulligan, and then, it just gives you 2 B preps on the mulligan or 1 every single time, and you just cry because you're like, I didn't want that in my opening hand. Please. I mulliganed 1 away, and I got 1 anyways. Yeah, so this is my version of red purple here. I will put, oh, this is pretty cool. Nice. Yeah, so this is my version of red purple here. Go ahead, give it a test. Uh, like I said, give a like, comment in the video. I just decided to sit down and make this one, so editing or anything isn't too crazy, but I've always been a minimalist when it came to editing and making videos anyways. So yeah, give this a try and let me know how the Prince Erics and the Scars feel. I mean, if you haven't done the Elsa replacing Maui, suggestion or thought out, then do that. Tell me how the libraries feel. Just tell me how overall the deck feels. I would love to hear from you guys because so far, it's been pretty good for me. And if you guys would like to watch me playtest this on like tabletop simulator or anything, just kind of see how I operate it, how I play it, especially against maybe green steel, red blue, whatever it may be, leave a comment down below. Let me know what matchups you want to see, and I will definitely make sure to do that. And yeah, follow me on Twitter, follow me on X. We're going to get some cool stuff going on here. I'm thinking whether or not I want to do a giveaway for this beautiful Daisy Duck I have, but she's such a pretty card, I don't know if I want to get rid of it. But maybe I'll think about it. Maybe I do. I love doing giveaways, so that might be what happens. But yeah, so follow me to keep update with that. And more content coming soon. Yeah, another video that should have been 10 minutes being 30 minutes or so. So we love to see that. We love Taris and his super long-winded videos. Thank you guys for watching. You guys have a wonderful day, and keep quest. That's what it is. Keep the quest up. Thank you guys. I'm out of here.